Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt like you'd known them your whole life, even though you just met? Or maybe you've walked away from a relationship that left you shattered, only to realize, years later, it was the very thing that saved you? What if I told you that none of this was random? That every single person who has ever crossed your path, your childhood friend, your first love, that stranger who said exactly the right words at the right time, even that person who broke your heart, was never there by accident? In the Buddhist tradition, there's a profound teaching that echoes through centuries. No one enters your life by chance. Every encounter carries a hidden purpose. Every meeting is a thread in the sacred tapestry of your awakening. Think about it. Why does one person calm your chaos, while another ignites your deepest insecurities? Why do some relationships flow like a quiet river, while others crash like thunder against your soul? From the Buddhist perspective, these aren't just coincidences or bad luck. They're invitations. Invitations to look deeper, to heal, to grow, to see yourself more clearly. The people in your life aren't just people, they are mirrors. And what they reflect might surprise you. You might be wondering, but what about the ones who hurt me? What possible purpose could they have? That's exactly where the wisdom begins. Because in Buddhism, even pain has meaning. Even loss has direction. Even the most confusing chapter in your story is part of a path you're meant to walk. So if you've ever questioned why someone came into your life, and why they left, this is for you. Let's start with a simple truth. You don't attract people randomly. You attract them based on who you are, your inner state, your unspoken wounds, your silent hopes, and the energy you carry in your heart. In Buddhist philosophy, this is tied to the law of karma, not as fate, but as cause and effect. Your thoughts, intentions, and past actions shape the conditions of your present. And that includes the people you meet. Imagine your life as a garden. The seeds you've planted, through kindness, fear, generosity, or avoidance, grow into the relationships you experience today. Some flourish with beauty, others wither quickly. But every plant tells you something about the soil. Now, consider this. Have you ever noticed how the same kind of person keeps showing up in your life? Maybe it's someone who disappears when things get hard, or someone who constantly challenges your boundaries, or someone who makes you feel like you're never enough. Buddhism teaches that these patterns repeat until you become aware of them, until you see the lesson, until you heal the root. It's not that these people are bad. Often, they're simply playing a role your soul needed at that moment. They're the storm that clears the dead leaves so new growth can emerge. And that's why, in this teaching, we don't blame. We observe. We ask, what is this relationship revealing in me? What am I being asked to understand? Some people enter your life like sunlight, gentle, warm, and full of ease. You feel seen, understood, safe. These are the souls who reflect your current harmony. They don't trigger you because there's nothing in you that needs triggering. Your inner world and their presence resonate in perfect pitch. But don't mistake ease for insignificance. These relationships are just as purposeful as the difficult ones. They remind you of your capacity for joy. They show you what healthy connection feels like. They give you a taste of your own peace. In a world full of noise, they are the silence that speaks love. And yet, even these beautiful encounters may not last forever. And that's okay. Because in Buddhism, impermanence isn't a flaw, it's the very nature of existence. Everything changes. Everyone changes. The person who once fit perfectly into your life may one day no longer belong. Not because love faded, but because your paths have diverged. And that, too, is sacred. The key isn't to cling to these gentle souls out of fear of losing them. The key is to receive their gift fully, and then let them go with gratitude when the time comes. Because their purpose wasn't to stay. It was to show you that you are worthy of kindness, that you are capable of giving and receiving love without conditions. Now, let's talk about the storms. You know the ones I mean. The relationships that left you breathless, not from joy, but from confusion, pain, or exhaustion. The ones where you gave everything and got silence in return. or where love felt more like a battlefield than a sanctuary. From the outside, it's easy to label these people as toxic, cruel, or wrong. But Buddhist wisdom invites you to look deeper, because often, these are your greatest teachers. Why? Because they hold up a mirror to your deepest unhealed places. That friend who betrayed your trust? They may be reflecting your own fear of vulnerability. That partner who made you feel invisible? They might be echoing an old belief that you're not enough. That family member whose words cut like knives? They could be activating a wound you've carried since childhood. This doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it shifts your perspective from victimhood to empowerment. Instead of asking, "Why did they do this to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this showing me about myself?" And in that question lies freedom. Because once you see the pattern, you can heal it. Once you heal it, you stop attracting the same pain. The storm doesn't return, because the inner sky has cleared. But what about those fleeting encounters? The stranger on the bus who said one sentence that changed your week. The teacher in high school who believed in you when no one else did. The neighbor who waved every morning for 10 years, then moved away without warning. In Buddhism, even these brief moments are not accidents. They are karmic intersections, precise, timed, and meaningful. Think of your life as a river. Most people flow alongside you for miles. But some drop in for just a few seconds, a leaf, a stone, a ripple, and yet, they alter your current forever. These encounters often carry what's called Bodhisattva energy, the spark of awakened mind. They don't stay to build a life with you. They stay just long enough to plant a seed of courage, of clarity, of self-worth. And sometimes, that's all you need. The danger is dismissing these moments as insignificant. It was just a conversation, you might say. But what if that conversation was the exact medicine your soul needed at that exact hour? Buddhism teaches us to honor every encounter, no matter how short, because each one is a stitch in the fabric of your awakening. Now, let's talk about repetition. Have you ever found yourself in the same emotional situation again and again? Different faces, same pain? Different names, same story? This is one of the clearest signs that a lesson hasn't been integrated. In Buddhist terms, it's called samsara, the cycle of suffering caused by ignorance and attachment. Until you become conscious of the pattern, it will keep replaying. For example, if you keep attracting emotionally unavailable partners, it's not bad luck. It's a reflection of an inner belief, perhaps that love must be earned, or that you don't deserve full presence. Until you heal that belief, new people will keep showing up to mirror it. But here's the beautiful part: awareness breaks the cycle. The moment you say, "Ah, I see this again," you've already begun to step out of the loop. You're no longer unconscious. You're observing. And observation is the first step toward liberation. So instead of cursing the repetition, thank it. Because it's your soul's way of saying, "Look here. This still needs your love." So how do you recognize the mirrors around you? Start by asking yourself 3 questions whenever a relationship stirs something strong in you, whether joy or pain. First, what emotion is this person triggering in me? Is it fear, insecurity, abandonment, or is it trust, calm, belonging? Second, where have I felt this before? Trace it back. Often, the intensity of your reaction isn't about the present person, it's about an old wound they've accidentally touched. Third, what is this showing me about my relationship with myself? Because every outer dynamic is an echo of an inner one. If someone makes you feel unworthy, ask, do I treat myself as unworthy? If someone respects your boundaries, ask, do I honor my own? This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about reclaiming your power. Because when you understand that every person is a mirror, you stop seeing relationships as things that happen to you, and start seeing them as invitations to evolve through you. Now, perhaps the most challenging part of this teaching: letting go. How do you release someone who mattered deeply, without resentment, without clinging, without turning their memory into a prison? Buddhism offers a profound practice: honoring the end as sacred as the beginning. When a relationship ends, it doesn't mean it failed. It means its purpose was fulfilled. Think of it like this: a teacher doesn't stay in the classroom forever. Once the lesson is learned, they move on to teach others. And the student, now wiser, moves on too. So instead of asking, "Why did they leave?" ask, "What did they help me become?" Did they teach you your strength, your boundaries, your capacity to love without losing yourself? If so, they served their role. Letting go, then, isn't rejection. It's completion. It's bowing to the wisdom of impermanence. It's saying, "Thank you for your part in my story," and then closing the chapter with peace, not bitterness. This brings us to a deeper question, one that might shift everything. What if you chose every single person in your life? Not consciously, perhaps, but from the level of your soul. In some Buddhist and Tibetan traditions, it's believed that before birth, we plan key encounters, people who will challenge us, heal us, awaken us. Your mother, your father, your first heartbreak, your greatest friend. They weren't random assignments. They were co-creators in your spiritual curriculum. Even the painful ones. Especially the painful ones. Because growth rarely comes from comfort. It comes from friction. From being stretched beyond what you thought you could bear. So when you look back at your life, don't just see the chaos. See the intention. See the unseen hand guiding you through storms to build your resilience, through losses to deepen your compassion, through misunderstandings to teach you the value of clear communication. You didn't just survive these encounters. You were shaped by them. And that shaping was never accidental. Let me share a story. There was a young woman who grew up feeling invisible in her family. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't earn her mother's full attention. She carried that wound into adulthood, attracting partners who were distant, distracted, or emotionally unavailable. She felt broken, unlovable. Then, through mindfulness practice, she began to see the pattern. She realized, I keep choosing people who make me feel exactly how I felt as a child, because that's the only love I knew. But instead of blaming her mother or her partners, she turned inward. She started giving herself the attention she'd always craved. She spoke kindly to herself. She honored her needs. And slowly, her relationships changed. Not because she manifested better people, but because she became someone who could recognize and receive healthy love. Her mother hadn't changed. Her past hadn't changed. But her inner world had. And that changed everything. That's the power of this teaching. It doesn't change the past, but it transforms how the past lives in you. So how do you live this wisdom every day? Start by shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing people as obstacles or saviors, see them as fellow travelers on the path, each playing their part in the great unfolding. When someone challenges you, pause, breathe, ask, what is this teaching me? When someone brings you joy, don't take it for granted. Receive it as a blessing, and reflect on what inner harmony allowed you to attract it. And when someone leaves, don't chase or curse. Bow inwardly. Say thank you. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or staying in toxic situations. Buddhism is not about passive suffering. It's about wise action rooted in clarity. Sometimes, the most compassionate choice is to walk away. But even then, you can do so without hatred, because you understand their role in your journey. Relationships, then, become your meditation, your practice, your path to awakening. And now, the final truth: every encounter, every single one, is part of your spiritual curriculum. Some people come to stay. They become your lifelong companions, your mirrors for decades. Some come to change you. They disrupt your comfort zone and force you to grow. Some come to wake you up. With their words, their presence, or even their absence, they jolt you into awareness. And some come to teach you how to let go, how to release with grace, how to trust the flow of life, how to find peace in impermanence. But all of them, without exception, come for a reason. When you truly understand this, something shifts inside you. Suffering transforms into understanding. Confusion gives way to clarity. And your past, once a source of pain, becomes a library of wisdom. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this helping me become?" And in that question, you find freedom. If this message resonated with you, if it stirred something deep within, then it wasn't by accident. You were meant to hear it. And now, you carry this wisdom forward. So I invite you, the next time someone enters your life, whether for a moment or a lifetime, pause. Look beyond their words, their actions, their presence. Ask yourself, what is this encounter revealing? What is it healing? What is it awakening? And when the time comes to say goodbye, do it with an open heart. Not because it was easy, but because you understand its purpose. If this video helped you see your relationships with new eyes, please take a moment to like it, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe for more teachings on mindful living and spiritual growth. Your support helps this message reach more hearts. And if you feel called, leave a comment below. Who was the person you didn't understand until now? Because sometimes, just naming it is the first step toward healing. Thank you for being here. May you walk your path with awareness, compassion, and the deep knowing that no one enters your life by accident.